Okay, setting up an egg tub. One egg tub, 9 litre really useful box. I always write the female, the male, the date the eggs were laid on there, and then on the front the date the eggs are due to hatch. Into our egg tub, vermiculite. I'm using these tubs, or this bucket, which I got from Pets at Home. It came with some puppy food a few years ago. So I use that to measure my vermiculite. Always measure your vermiculite by volume, not by weight. So we use 8 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wiggle it around a bit, stand that in the middle, lukewarm water from the tap, one cup of water, splash it around all over. And now for the messy part, which is usually where I get absolutely covered in vermiculite. Knead it all in, a bit like making pastry. So you literally squash it in on itself, making sure you get that cup of moisture through the whole tub. Okay, now this mix has worked for me for the last 3 or 4 years, so I never change it. And you'll see when it's mixed, the colour changes, and when you squeeze it, it forms into a clump, but there's no water coming out. No peace for the wicked, as the mobile tells me somebody's after me. Okay, that mixed. Flatten it over, and then I go in with my hands and squash it all down. So it forms a solid base in the bottom of the egg tub. Okay, that is now compressed down in there. Okay, now part of the reason I do that is because I recycle my vermiculite once the eggs are done. So on top of that, we now do 3 tubs of dry vermiculite, which I just shake across the top, so it forms a slight barrier between the damp vermiculite and the dry vermiculite on the top that the eggs are going to sit onto. When the eggs have hatched and the babies have come out, take the empty eggs out of the tub, leave the babies in, and add a small plastic water bowl. They go back into the incubator and they stay in there until they've all shed. Then I pull them out, they get set up in their individual tubs. So on top of that now we'll go a sheet of clear thick plastic. It's the kind of stuff they use for polytunnels for growing vegetables, strawberries, etc. On top of that, making sure I know where the date is, close the lid. That seals that humidity in there. Lock the lid. All it needs now is eggs. What will happen is I will put the eggs in, it'll go into the incubator. About once a week, I'll open the incubator, take the lid off. If there's any condensation on the underside of this plastic, carefully pull the plastic away, flip it over, dry that out with some tissue, and then put the lid back on. That stops any condensation from dripping on the eggs, which will kill them, potentially. Also allows for air exchange. About the last 2 weeks, it will get done once a day because the temperature inside the egg tub will naturally go up because of the babies developing faster, getting ready to hatch, which means the humidity builds up more. At that point, the eggs are probably fairly safe, but I prefer not to take any chances, and they need air exchange daily for the last couple of weeks because that's when they're starting to suck more oxygen in from their surroundings. If it's a big clutch, particularly so, because more babies, more eggs, more oxygen is needed. That is my basics for setting up an egg tub. Now for the fun part, go and wrestle the female and get the eggs away from her. Photographs of that will be up later.